In a world torn asunder by endless war, where the banners of the Sunstone Legion and the Shadow Syndicate cast long bloody shadows across the land, two souls were destined to collide. This is the story of Sir Alistair, the Golden Lion of Sunstone, and Lady Elara, the Shadow Raven of the Syndicate. Their tale begins not in a gilded hall or a peaceful meadow, but on a field of mud and steel, under a sky weeping rain. Alistair, his armor gleaming even in the dim light, led a desperate charge. His blade was a blur of silver, a testament to a lifetime of duty. Across the field, Elara moved like a phantom, her twin daggers finding their mark with deadly grace. She was the embodiment of the shadows, her faction revered, swift, silent, and lethal. Their eyes met across the chaos, a moment of stillness in a symphony of destruction. It wasn't hatred that passed between them, but a flicker of something else, recognition, a shared weariness of the slaughter. In that instant, they saw not an enemy, but a mirror of their own trapped existence. The battle raged on, and they were swept apart, but that single look had planted a seed in the war-torn soil of their hearts. Days turned into weeks. The war demanded their loyalty, pitting them against each other in skirmishes and sieges. Yet, the memory of that encounter lingered. Driven by a force neither could explain, Alistair left a single white rose on a forgotten shrine that marked the border of their territories. It was a fool's gesture, a beacon in the dark that could lead to his ruin. But Elara found it. She, who was trained to see traps in every shadow, saw not deceit, but a plea. The next night, she left a single black feather in its place. A silent reply, a promise. Their secret meetings began. Under the silver gaze of the moon, in the quiet solitude of ancient forests, they would shed their armor and their titles. Here, they were not the Golden Lion and the Shadow Raven. They were just Alistair and Elara. They talked of their childhoods, of dreams they thought long dead, of a world without the constant drumbeat of war. Alistair spoke of the sun-drenched fields of his home, of the pressure to be a perfect soldier, a symbol for his people. Elara confessed her own burdens, the lonely path of an assassin trained to suppress all emotion, to be a weapon rather than a woman. In these stolen moments, they found a sanctuary. They discovered a shared yearning for peace, a love that was as terrifying as it was beautiful. Their bond deepened with every secret rendezvous. They taught each other their ways. Alistair showed Elara the constellations of the summer sky, stories his father had told him. Elara showed Alistair how to move silently through the woods, to listen to the language of the night. They were from opposing worlds, light and shadow, yet together they created a perfect twilight. But secrets in a time of war are like embers in a dry forest. They are destined to ignite. A scout from Alistair's legion, suspicious of his frequent disappearances, followed him. A spy from Alara's syndicate, ever watchful, noted her softened demeanor. The whispers started, weaving their way through the war camps like poison, treason, betrayal. Their commanders, ruthless leaders who saw the world in black and white, caught wind of the rumors. For them, love was a weakness, and fraternizing with the enemy was the ultimate sin. Alistair was confronted by his general, a man who had been like a father to him. He was given an ultimatum: lead the final, decisive charge against the Syndicate's stronghold and kill the Shadow Raven yourself, or be executed as a traitor. Elara faced a similar decree. Her mentor, the Master of Assassins, ordered her to lay a trap for the Golden Lion, to lure him to his death and prove her loyalty once and for all. The choice was clear: duty or love, kill or be killed. The day of the final battle dawned, cold and grey. The armies of the Sunstone Legion and the Shadow Syndicate gathered for one last cataclysmic clash. The fate of the kingdom would be decided by nightfall. At the heart of it all stood Alistair and Elara, their hearts heavy with the impossible choice they had to make. As the horns sounded and the two armies surged towards each other, Alistair and Elara met in the center of the battlefield, just as they had that first time. The world around them dissolved into a blur of violence and chaos. But for them, there was only the person standing before them. Their commanders watched from afar, expecting a brutal duel to the death. They expected to see their champions fulfill their duty. But Alistair did not raise his sword to strike. Elara did not draw her daggers. Instead, Alistair dropped his ancestral blade to the ground. The sword that represented his entire life, his honor, his duty, it clattered onto the blood-soaked earth. A gasp rippled through his legion. Across the field, Elara let her own daggers fall from her hands, their sharp points sinking into the mud. They had made their choice. Not for Sunstone, not for the Syndicate, but for each other. In the stunned silence that followed, they turned their backs on the battle. Hand in hand, they walked away from the war, away from the banners and the bloodshed, away from the lives that had been forced upon them. They chose not victory or defeat, but a third path, a path of their own making. Their act of defiance was a shockwave. Soldiers on both sides faltered, their convictions shaken. They saw not to traitors, but to people who had chosen love in a world that only offered hate. For the first time, they questioned the war they were fighting. The story of Alistair and Elara became a legend, whispered in taverns and told around campfires. Some say they found a hidden valley, a place untouched by war, where they lived out their days in peace. Others say their rebellion inspired a truce, the first step towards ending the generations-long conflict. Their story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can be found, that the bravest act is not to fight for a flag, but to fight for a connection. It is a testament to the fact that love is not a weakness, but the most powerful force of all, strong enough to silence the drums of war and forge a new destiny. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales from realms of fantasy.